And I'm going to close my eyes actually, not because it's a done thing, not because it's a woo thing, but because it actually, when you close your eyes, there's no more visual input, and visual cortex is literally the busiest thing going there in sensory terms. So it helps me to tune in. I am terribly nervous, as you can probably hear in my voice, possibly see in my cheeks. And there's a light flickering now here from the lights in the room. And I'm trying to find the words to actually describe that not rising there. And I'm actually quite nervous, thinking, am I going to burp now? There's some shaking in my legs, there's some shaking in my hands. And there's some things going on there that I haven't got the words for. So I'll ask you to humor me now. Has any one of you, by the show of hands if you don't mind, ever experienced something that you did not quite have the words to describe? There's a word for that, ineffable. And that's the trouble with the language, and that's the trouble with our approach to human condition, if you will, for want of a better term, in our neck of the woods. And by that I mean in our Western cultures. We haven't got the connection to our bodies. We're very good at intellectualizing things. We're very good at rationalizing things and reframing things. I am a big fan of it. I actually started from cognitive reframing approach until I found that the bodily reactions to these situations, to these scary situations, accumulated in my body, started accumulating in my shoulders, where would literally just rise there. I could feel it rising, and no matter what I did, it would not change a thing. No matter how I reframed the situation, it would not change the thing. I was very good, I am still very good at fooling myself or reframing or just finding other ways at seeing things. But that does not help me with what's going on in my body, because that fight or flight reaction has already been kicked off by that initial thought or even sub-thought. That's already been kicked off, and the processes are going. And they accumulate, and they accumulate, and they store quite literally. It's not just some word to use, they quite literally accumulate on the cellular level. And then the threshold becomes less and less until it all then ripples out. It bursts and it ripples out to very, very far-reaching impact onto our loved ones, onto our co-workers, onto the people we're supposed to lead, and then onto the people that we're supposed to lead, then live with and meet socially with. It's an endless ripple effect. So really a call to action would be, we need to reacquaint, we need to bridge that gap with approaching our development, our personal development, and especially our professional development. And I do have a big issue with pigeonholing, with categorizing these two things as separate things. I read some statistics, unfortunately, that was 3-4 years ago, and at that point I didn't bother to take the reference, so don't quote me on that. But there was something like 80% people invested into professional development, or what we call professional development, and only 20% of people, or 20-something, there was a little bit of overlap, invested in personal development. And all our professional development is very much geared at our intellectual capacities, intellectual agencies. But then we are left with the remnants of all the physiological things that happen in our body. And I won't repeat myself saying how it ripples. Let's pay a little bit more attention to our bodies. so we can actually learn the language of our bodies. Thank you, everyone.